I tried with you. It's more to life than sleeping in and getting high with you.
Mr. 411 here, and remember when I made that video last year titled 30 movies in 15-ish minutes? Obviously I liked how that turned out, so I figured might as well do that same thing with the 100 plus new movies I didn't review. Also, just a heads up, if you want to know what movies I see when I see them, I'm most frequent on my Letterboxd profile, which you can check out in the link in the description. But without further ado, let's review 100 plus movies in under 20 minutes. The first movie we're going to be talking about is The Choice, your typical Nicholas Sparks movie with some odd performances but pretty good cinematography. C-. The second movie we're going to be talking about is Laser. Not every joke lands, but it has likable characters, solid visuals, and moves by fast. B. The third movie we're going to be talking about is Blue Mountain State, The Rise of THADLAND. Feels like a stretched out episode from its TV series, but it was still great to see these characters again. C. The fourth movie we're going to be talking about is 50 Shades of Black. Marlon Wayne's style of racist and idiotic humor doesn't work yet again, and it results in a boring mess. D-.
For the paper.
The fifth movie we're going to be talking about is The Forest. Doesn't utilize this brilliant story to its full potential and has a horrible ending, but the performances are fine. C-. The sixth movie we're going to be talking about is Zoolander 2. Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson are fine, but it horribly executes its idiotic humor and gets to an angrily dumb point. C-.
Blue Steel.
The seventh movie we're going to be talking about is Deadpool. An incredibly fun time at the movies due to the hard R action, fourth wall breaking, and Ryan Reynolds' great performance. A. Eighth movie we're going to be talking about is Kung Fu Panda 3. A surprisingly well-made third installment with great voice acting and animation, but a weak villain. B. The ninth movie we're going to be talking about is Pee-wee's Big Holiday. An insanely fun movie that admittedly can get very over the top at times. B. The 10th movie we're going to be talking about is They Look Like People, a visceral experience of a film like nothing I've seen before. B+. The 11th movie we're going to be talking about is Get a Job. Definitely a low point for the cast and has no actual story, but enjoyable for what it is. C. The 12th film we're going to be talking about is Hello, My Name is Doris, a great feel-good movie featuring an excellent performance from Sally Field, but can get predictable. B+. The 13th movie we're going to be talking about is Norm of the North. Wasn't horrified of it at first, but just gets worse and worse as it goes on with its animation and its awful voice acting. D. The 14th movie we're going to be talking about is Mr. Right. The chemistry between Anna Kendrick and Sam Rockwell is good, and I was never bored, but it does get cliche and has a horrible villain in Tim Roth. C+. The 15th movie we're going to be talking about is Demolition. Can get a little too pretentious at times, but has great cinematography and performances and definitely flew by. B. The 16th movie we're going to be talking about is Hush, a great original concept that does a great job at managing to be claustrophobic, but has a villain that doesn't have a true motivation. B-. The 17th movie we're going to be talking about is Mojave. Has some performances that are straight up entertaining, but is confusing, dull, and incoherent. D+. The 18th film we're going to be talking about is Sing Street, an extremely enjoyable coming-of-age film with a great soundtrack and memorable characters, but has a medley of nitpicks. B. The 19th film we're going to be talking about is The Jungle Book, an overrated Disney adaptation that admittedly has a good lead performance and stunning visuals. C+. The 20th movie we are going to be talking about is Midnight Special, one of the most unique films with its great story, cinematography, and extremely talented cast. B+. The 21st movie we are going to be talking about is Zootopia, a fantastic movie for all age groups because of its diverse comedy and social commentary. A-. The 22nd movie we are going to be talking about is Criminal. Offers some hilarious performances from Gary Oldman and Kevin Costner, but it's confusing and unengaging. C-. The 23rd movie we are going to be talking about is Barbershop, The Next Cut. Has some arcs that are completely unnecessary, but has likable characters and a great message. B-. The 24th movie we are going to be talking about is Green Room, one of the most gruesome films I've ever seen, along with some crazy performances, stunning makeup, and solid cinematography. B+. The 25th movie we are going to be talking about is Miracles from Heaven. Isn't as preachy as other religious films out there and has talented actors, but pretty boring, cliche, and overlong. C-. The 26th movie we are going to be talking about is Meet the Blacks. So damn idiotic, but I will say that this is the perfect late night movie to watch with friends on Netflix. B+. The 27th movie we are going to be talking about is Term Life. Not very memorable or eventful, but has a believable father-daughter duo between Vince Vaughn and Haley Steinfeld. C. The 28th movie we are going to be talking about is Special Correspondence. Can get dumb at points and is a little too long, but decently funny, and the two leads work great together. C+. The 29th movie we're going to be talking about is Search Party, a discount version of The Hangover with no characters to care about, but admittedly had me entertained. C-. The 30th movie we're going to be talking about is Moonwalkers, a well-executed and ambitious concept with funny characters, but gets boring towards the finale. B-. The 31st movie we're going to be talking about is Yosemite, a pointless movie that ultimately amounts to nothing, but looks very good. D+. The 32nd movie we're going to be talking about is Money Monster, a forgettable flick that doesn't utilize its concept to its fullest, but has a great main trio and good direction. C+. The 33rd movie we're going to be talking about is Eddie the Eagle, the very definition of a feel-good movie featuring fantastic performances from Taron Egerton and Hugh Jackman. B+. The 34th movie we're going to be talking about is Neighbors 2 Sorority Rising, not nearly as good as the first, but still has comedic elements and funny characters. C+. The 35th movie we're going to be talking about is The Witch. Has great acting and cinematography, but simply didn't scare me whatsoever. C-. The 36th movie we're going to be talking about is The Meddler. Great performance from Susan Sarandon and pretty enjoyable, but gets a little crooked in its third act. B-. The 37th movie we're going to be talking about is the Angry Birds movie. Dumb humor and very boring, but looks gorgeous and had me laughing a couple times. C. The 38th movie we're going to be talking about is Alice Through the Looking Glass. It's completely outrageous, but I had a fun time throughout and it looks good. C+. The 39th movie we're going to be talking about is The Do-Over. Starts off very promising, but slowly falls into typical Adam Sandler fanfare in its 2-hour runtime. D+. The 40th movie we're going to be talking about is A Bigger Splash. It's pretty much nonsense up until the finale, but it has great performances throughout its entirety and looks gorgeous. C+. The 41st movie we're going to be talking about is Grimsby, one of the most idiotic films of the year, but had me laughing throughout and moves by so quickly. C+. The 42nd movie we're going to be talking about is The Nice Guys. The duo of Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling is great and it's pretty funny, but it plays it safe sometimes. B. The 43rd movie we're going to be talking about is X-Men Apocalypse. Has an awful villain and has some cringe-worthy humor, but overall very intense and enjoyable. B-. The 44th movie we're going to be talking about is The Little Prince. Beautifully animated and a good voice cast, but not all that memorable. B-. The 45th movie we're going to be talking about is Me Before You. Extremely cliche and by the books, but the chemistry between the two leads works so well. C+. The 46th movie we're going to be talking about is Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping. Hilarious performances from the three main actors and a funny script, but feels long for 88 minutes. B-. The 47th movie we're going to be talking about is Love and Friendship. The actors and costumes perfectly fit the time period, but it isn't my type of humor or overall film. C-. The 48th movie we're going to be talking about is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. One of the year's worst screenplays without a doubt, but fun watching with friends. C-. The 49th movie we're going to be talking about is Now You See Me Too. A very fun movie that doesn't take itself too seriously, but has too many plot twists for its own good. B-. The 50th movie we're going to be talking about is 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. Confusing and overlong, but very good acting and a solid finale. C. The 51st movie we're going to be talking about is Maggie's Plan, an unconventional romantic comedy featuring a fantastic screenplay and great performances. A-. The 52nd movie we're going to be talking about is The Conjuring 2. Not a scary film and it moves incredibly slow, but overall well made through James Wan's direction and the great duo between Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. B-. The 53rd movie we're going to be talking about is Finding Dory. Fast-paced, energetic, funny, and entertaining for everyone. B+. The 54th movie we're going to be talking about is Central Intelligence. The chemistry between Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart is gold, and it has great rewatch value. B. Look at him. The 55th movie we're going to be talking about is Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. A film that can only be understood if you know its original source material, which I unfortunately didn't. D+. The 56th movie we're going to be talking about is The Shallows, your typical shark attack movie that is shot really well and has a serviceable performance from Blake Lively. C. The 57th movie we're going to be talking about is Free State of Jones, another good performance from Matthew McConaughey, but has an incredibly disjointed story and moves at a snail's pace. D+. The 58th movie we're going to be talking about is The Neon Demon. Has multiple endings, but also great cinematography, an immersive score, great acting, and beautiful visual metaphors. A-. The 59th movie we're going to be talking about is The Fundamentals of Caring. Moves at an incredibly slow pace and is predictable, but the performances sell most of it. C+. The 60th movie we're going to be talking about is Swiss Army Man. One of the most different films out there in a good way, with its great concept and the best performances of Daniel Radcliffe and Paul Dano's careers. B. The 61st movie we're going to be talking about is Hunt for the Wilder People. Its awkward humor, direction, acting, and everything in between definitely worked for me. A-. The 62nd film we're going to be talking about is The Invitation. Aside from a somewhat cool finale, I didn't get much out of this film besides cringeworthy acting and dialogue at times. C-. The 63rd movie we're going to be talking about is The Girl in the Photographs. Interesting for the time watching it, but don't remember it at all after a few days. C. The 64th movie we're going to be talking about is Clown. Such an insane and crazy concept that it works by not taking itself too seriously and having fun. C+. The 65th movie we're going to be talking about is The Secret Life of Pets. Hits all the beats you'd think it would and has a fair amount of childish humor, but moves quick and has a solid amount of good humor. C+. The 66th movie we're going to be talking about is Lights Out. Eerie direction, incredibly short, and scared the out of me. A-. The 67th movie we're going to be talking about is Viral. Dumb, idiotic, and overall has no point to existing. D. The 68th movie we're going to be talking about is The Legend of Tarzan. Good performances, but nothing really happened. C-. The 69th movie we're going to be talking about is Batman: The Killing Joke. Feels jumbled and has a pretty meaningless first act, but has great voice performances and an ending that stuck with me. C. The 70th movie we're going to be talking about is How to Be Single, a harmless romantic comedy that can get extremely convoluted at times. C. The 71st movie we're going to be talking about is The Lobster. Moves slow, but it's one of the most original romance films to date, featuring excellent performances from everyone. B. The 72nd movie we're going to be talking about is Holidays, one of the dumbest movies of 2016, but admittedly entertaining for nearly the whole entirety. C-. The 73rd movie we're going to be talking about is Sausage Party. Not Point Grade Pictures' best, but extremely funny with great voice performances and fantastically satirical commentary. B. The 74th movie we're going to be talking about is The Light Between Oceans. Has a very slow first act, but is heavily elevated by a compelling story and great chemistry between Alicia Vikander and Michael Fassbender. B+. The 75th movie we're going to be talking about is Don't Breathe. Gets dumb in its third act, but overall pretty damn creepy and has some great acting. B. The 76th movie we're going to be talking about is War Dogs, the most underrated movie of the year because of the rapport between Hill and Teller and this extremely engaging story. A-. The 77th movie we're going to be talking about is Morris from America. Doesn't feel like 89 minutes, but funny at times and incredibly harmless overall. C+. The 78th movie we're going to be talking about is Hell or High Water. Isn't too fast-paced, but works because of how it handles this story that could be cliche, as well as the performances. B-. The 79th movie we're going to be talking about is Don't Think Twice. One of the most real films due to Mike Birbiglia's harsh direction and the chemistry between the six main leads. A-. The 80th movie we're going to be talking about is High Rise. Definitely takes the award for most confusing film of 2016 with how pretentious and egotistical it is. D. The 81st movie we're going to be talking about is Sully. Has some odd editing choices, but great performances from Hanks and Eckhart and an interesting story. B+. The 82nd movie we're going to be talking about is Snowden. It is incredibly confusing for a majority, but JGL does fantastic as well as Shailene Woodley, and the ending makes up for a lot of the confusion. C+. The 83rd movie we're going to be talking about is Kevin Hart, What Now? Not my favorite of Kevin Hart's stand-up shows, but a solid way to end them and still a laugh riot from start to finish. B. The 84th movie we're going to be talking about is Middle School, the worst years of my life. Has one of the worst first halves of 2016, but makes up for it in its twist as well as the capable teen performances. C+. The 85th movie we're going to be talking about is Friend Request. Incredibly stupid concept that tries to be way too serious and has some abysmal performances. D. 6th movie we're going to be talking about is Hardcore Henry. A very fun action movie, but pretty much no story and no characters to truly care about. C. 87th movie we're going to be talking about is Bloodfather, one of 2016's hidden gems featuring intense action scenes, an engaging story, and great performances across the board. A-. 88th movie we're going to be talking about is Yoga Hosers, maybe the dumbest movie of all time and not amusing at all, making it the year's worst film without a doubt. F. The 89th movie we're going to be talking about is The Accountant. Competently directed and has a great performance from Ben Affleck, but overlong and confusing for a majority. C. The 80th movie we're going to be talking about is 9 Lives, an incredibly horrendous film that isn't even a movie that it's so bad it's funny, it's just bad. D. The first movie we're going to be talking about is Keeping Up with the Joneses. Unfunny and annoying, but luckily the chemistry between Godot and Ham save it from being a total bomb. C-. The second movie we're going to be talking about is Denial, an interesting debate film that, while one-sided, doesn't shove anything down your throat and has great performances overall. B+. The 93rd movie we're going to be talking about is Deepwater Horizon, a well-acted, directed, and overall intense film that moves at an initially slow pace. B. The 94th movie we're going to be talking about is Doctor Strange. The visuals, villain, pace, and acting are great, but gets pretty cringy at times. B. The 95th movie we're going to be talking about is Hacksaw Ridge, an incredibly engaging story with some phenomenal direction and the best performances of these actors' lives. A+. The 96th movie we're going to be talking about is Ouija, Origin of Evil. Actually has effort put into it and ends up looking authentic, and it's pretty smart surprisingly. The 97th movie we're going to be talking about is Arrival, one of the most thought-provoking films I've ever seen, and one of the year's most well-acted and looking films. A. The 88th movie we're going to be talking about is Moonlight, an incredible film with some of the year's best direction and some straight-up perfect performances. A. The 99th movie we're going to be talking about is Bleed for This, a standard boxing movie that has solid performances from Miles Teller and Aaron Eckhart. C+. The 100th movie we're going to be talking about is The Edge of 17. Is outlined to be a standard coming-of-age movie, but adds in stuff to make it unique and has great performances. A-. The 101st movie we're going to be talking about is Masterminds, one of the dumbest movies of the year without a doubt, but had me entertained and engaged throughout. C. The 102nd movie we're going to be talking about is Michael Moore in Trumpland. Looking at it from solely a film perspective, definitely brings up some excellent points, but not always engaging. C+. The 103rd movie we're going to be talking about is 31. Sick, twisted, and undeniably gratuitous, but I was never bored. D+. Finally, the 104th film we're going to be talking about is Bad Santa 2. While it doesn't have the charm the first one did, the cast still works great together and I laughed a fair amount of times. C+. And those were reviews for all the new releases I've seen all put into one video. I do want to apologize for not posting as frequently, but I will try to post reviews for every new movie I see after this is published. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and until my next review, I'm Random Mr. 411, and I will see you all later.